Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grimflayer, and I hope you're all doing very well today. You guessed it, we're playing more Green-Black Midrange, more Golgari. While we wait for Modern Horizons spoilers to begin, what else are we supposed to do but keep jamming our list? It's been working really well for me this month. You're looking at my May list. The deck tech is in the description below. With one change, I have brought back the Grafdigger's Cage I've cut. I cut for May. I've brought it back. And for the last couple leagues, I have displaced my beloved second copy of Maelstrom Pulse for it. However, we are going to try a slightly different configuration today, and we are going to actually, for the first time in a very, very long time on this channel, play with only one Liliana the Last Hope. Now, Pulse and Last Hope are both pretty clearly pet cards for me. You know, I really love both cards. I think both have been underrated in the past, at least, you know. And I do stand by them as very, 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 very broadly useful in the case of Pulse. To the point where there's almost no matchup where you won't side your second one in. Of course, that depends on specific 75s, but in my case, that's true. And Last Hope, of course, is extremely powerful in this shell. But I want to keep my lower curve stuff around. We're a little heavy on the 3-drops, so... and of course, one of the 3-drops that we're heavy on is Ashiok that we've been testing, who I want to leave in. We haven't really gotten to see Ashiok yet on this channel very much at all. So, you know, I'm just messing around with a couple different tweaks, but... the main point of the tweak is that I do feel the need to get that Grafdigger's Cage back in with the current meta, with the stuff that's going around at the moment. As we're loading into the first match, I will thank my Patreon supporters. Thank you all so much. It means a whole lot to me that you are supporting this content. I think we gotta take them all here. And, you know, I hope I keep earning your patronage. That is the plan. And we've got a fine 6 here. We'll keep it Liliana the Last Hope, huh? I mean, I'm pretty tempted to top this card, in all honesty. The opponent kept 7, they're likelier to be on a fair deck. I'm gonna top it. Obviously, could really go either way here. There could also be a consideration, if our hand was a little bit different, to play the fetch land and then see whether we want to shuffle her away. Wow. Okay. Disrupting Shoal, exiling Spell Snare. You got it. And we'll pass. That is among the arguably the very last thing I expected here. Don't know what we're up against that plays. Oh, Mistvein Border Post. Is this some kind of Restore Balance deck? Well, unfortunate if so. I'm not exactly high on Liliana the Last Hope in such a situation, but I guess we're just jamming the goif here. And you know, the opponent pitching a card like Spell Snare, which is obviously really good against us, you know, who knows, but maybe they kind of needed to with their hand. Alright, so far we're getting pretty well punished for the decision to keep Last Hope on top, but I think it's a fine one in a vacuum. It's obviously an argument for casting Abrupt Decay here, but I think I'm going to give myself one more turn before I do that. Remand, sure. Okay. Don't know, 8 for auto pass, just like always. It's not working at the moment, though, man. Don't know if something changed or if we've just got a bug of some kind, but That's going to be a little annoying. Going to have to click a little bit more intensively than I'm used to. And hopefully that's not going to slow me down too much, right? So, I'm not exactly sure what the opponent's up to. I am expecting As Foretold at some point, which is another reason I'm a little gun-shy on this Abrupt Decay. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to just hit the border post with it or what. The fact that they're continuing to make their land drops on curve means I'm probably just holding the Decay. Not sure what the opponent's waiting on here, though. Could be, could just be an AFK stop, or, we're seeing Disrupting Shoal. We could be seeing other spicy tech. But at 2 mana, I don't know what I'd really be on the lookout for here. Shoal is an interesting one. It's, obviously the big kind of argument against it is how all over the place CMCs in Modern are, which is maybe why Counterbalance is also not the best. Finally got our 3rd land, sure. Still don't know whether I'm playing a Scoos here or just holding up Decay. But, okay, here we go. Yeah, I think we try to redeploy Scoos. They already know about it. If it's just another remand, it's just another remand. Now that we've got the 3rd land, we've got a lot more live draws, including a discard effect to really see what the opponent's got going on. But for now, we're just kind of going shields down. So as I was saying with Disrupting Shoal, obviously Modern CMC's all over the place. It's why this card's not great. It's why we don't see it that much. On the other hand, Chalice is on the upswing, so maybe Disrupting Shoal could and should be as well. I don't really know. Pretty happy to attack without firing up the manland here in case of Cryptic Command. We don't want to get time-walked. And I'm just going to say go. Another border post. You got it? Alright, so I think now that this will take them off of 4 mana, I'm going to go ahead and go for the Abrupt Decay here. Even though it's a little counterintuitive because we were kind of waiting to see how their mana developed, they're going to Vapor Snag our Tarmogoyf. Sure, okay. Yeah, you got it. It's definitely pretty bad for us. We were hoping to present lethal this turn, and now we're, without the Goyf, we're not even close. Feel as though I've wasted my Decay. Of course, it hasn't really been a waste in a strict sense, but I think we've got no choice but to redeploy the Goyf, so we'll begin with an attack. I wonder if it would have been correct for the opponent to Vapor Snag during attacks, because we would probably have fired up the Treetop Village in that case. But Try the Goyf. Another 2-for-1. They get rid of Snapback. Okay. Yeah, I think we are just deploying Skoos here. Going shields down as far as holding up Fatal Push, which probably, to be fair, is not entirely relevant. Perhaps more importantly, going shields down with our Skoos activations, but again, I think we have to present lethal here. And that's currently what we're doing. So I think we definitely just go for lethal here, even though, again, they could have Cryptic Command like we've played around a couple times already. I think we should go for it now. What I'm deciding is whether or not to play out that Verdant Catacombs first. It would be nice to play it out in case of Snapcaster Mage, because not only can I blow out their snap target, but I can also Fatal Push the Mage. So even though they might bounce our Treetop Village, and then we are very far away from actually getting in with it anytime soon, I think we do have to play out our land first. I think that's correct, for the above-mentioned reasons. And then we're going to try to attack this deck that I frankly don't recognize for lethal. Opponent's taking their time on a couple decisions here. You just don't know. Okay. Well, there's no Cryptic. There's got to be something, though. Notion Thief. Alright, very glad I played my fetch land here. Okay, good game. So, yeah, this is some kind of a modern Notion Thief deck. Again, I really don't recognize it. The border posts make me think of Restore Balance and maybe As Foretold, but yeah. That is not necessarily what we saw here. So, maybe I'm not above taking a quick look on my phone here. Notion Thief Modern border post. Let's see if Google yields anything. Well, Narset Parter Avails and Days Undoing is a Reddit post that comes up at the top with Notion Thief, Snapback, Remand, Shoal, Vapor Snag, Commandeer, and yeah, border post if I haven't said that already. So, okay. This I'm assuming I'm facing a deck rather like this. Narset and Lore Broker combo to lock an empty-handed opponent out of ever drawing a card. Alright, cool. So, how to sideboard against such a deck? Well, I'm not seeing a terribly high amount of graveyard mechanics. Doesn't look like that's their game. So, I think we want Maelstrom Pulse, Collective Brutality. Probably our Fulminator Mages, but even that I'm not sure about. Yeah, I have to confess that I'm not entirely clear on what to do, but seems like we want to leave in a good amount of our removal, but maybe something like Kalidas, you know, that level of value we don't necessarily need. I do like a high density of removal here. I think I like most of what our deck is already doing. So let's do something like this. Maybe I think I'm actually just gonna sideboard extra conservative here in game one until we get a little bit more info. You know, this is just me glancing at the top hit on Google, right? It could be absolutely anything as well. You know, just basically limited to what we saw. We can't necessarily assume that this is the deck I just found. We've got a sideboard against what we see as well, right? So, hand is fine. It's a little annoying how badly it lines up against Remand with us being on the draw, but yeah. Okay. Ancestral Vision is always a tough card for us to beat as well. So, yeah, if they just go Ancestral Vision into interaction here, oh, it's Mistvein Border Post, sure. Alright, oh, Inquisition right on time, huh? So I think the only thing that really punishes us probably for just jamming Bob is Spell Snare right now, but they're black, you know, they could well have some removal as well, so I guess that makes us want to just play a Collective Brutality this turn. Next turn we can go Inquisition into Bob, hopefully having cleared the way for him to stick and survive and thrive and compete with the Vision. And sure enough, they did have the Spell Snare, so I'm happy I let on Brutality rather than Bob. Our hand would, without Bob, just be trading 1-for-1 here and then be in big trouble when the Ancestral Vision comes off suspend, right? So, okay, opponent is on a one-lander. Well, I'm not mad about that. And I guess running out the field here is pretty fine, so we'll do that first to play around Spell Pierce, I suppose, and then it's Inquisition time. Okay, they have Ashiok, don't care. They have Disrupting Shoal, which they can pitch their Lore Broker to get rid of our Bob. To counter our Bob, that is. So, this is an interesting spot. If we take away the Lore Broker, they can't do anything this turn. But if we take away the Disrupting Shoal, then they also can't do anything this turn. And then if they just deploy the Lore Broker, we can kill it with Collective Brutality if that ends up being the best use of our turn. I think we have to leave the Planeswalkers because we don't care much about Ashiok. Although, we do have a couple fetches left in hand, so that's pretty annoying. You know, I'm just going to take the Lore Broker. I think that's the correct take here. Really wish I didn't play around Spell Pierce and I could have just fetched there. But, what are you going to do? And they hit the third land, so that is unfortunate. We'll see what they choose to deploy here. It is a Narset. Yeah, Narset seems like the best card in their hand, but we can't really do much about the second copy, and of course, doesn't really affect the Bob like it would affect other forms of card advantage. So, I mean, our hand's pretty awful. and we have so many extraneous lands, I think we're just going to Brutality, even though we know there's like just one target in hand. And even though the drain is pretty poor, there's just no reason not to, right? We've got so many extraneous lands that are fetch lands on top of it. Bad against Ashiok. So we'll drain, we'll duress. We'll pitch. Then we're attacking Narset. You know, the Ancestral Vision remains our big problem here, but we don't care about Narset's passive at this exact moment in time. So we just kind of take away her ability to minus again, which, admittedly, the card advantage is already happening with AV coming off Suspend, but still no reason to give them yet another card on top of that. Non-creature, non-land. You know, the deck seems like it does play a fair amount of creatures. Lore Broker is a combo with Narset. It's one reason we took it. As far as I can tell anyway, right? That seems correct. Each player draws and then discards a card. And of course, Narset, yeah. So they upkeep Lore Broker and then you can't draw for your draw step. Is that how it works? I guess it probably is. Seems pretty good. They'll push the Bob, okay? Yep. We said they might have removal, and indeed they do. There's Ashiok. Okay. Yep. Now, do we care to trophy Ashiok? I don't think we do. Because it's just, like, making our stuff a little bit worse, but not really doing anything beyond that. So, I think we just instead hang on to our Assassin's Trophy for more powerful permanents that we can hit. Getting a second Narset, okay. And they still have a third one in hand, so I don't even think we're really supposed to trophy this one away. Probably just supposed to... Well, we'll see. Tyrant Scorn. Destroy target creature with CMC 3 or less, or bounce a creature. Interesting one. Okay, so they've got the Scorn ready for us. I think we're going to just still eat that Lore Broker on the end step. Make sure they're definitely using that this turn. And then also, again, not sure whether or not the graveyard matters much, but we might as well take away that Spell Snare as well. And then you got us. Inquisition of Kozilek. Alright. Okay, we've got that other Narset and another Mistvein Border Post. I guess at this point maybe we do trophy the Narset. We'll take this one. We'll trophy the other. They've got a lot of annoying stuff, though. That is without question. And we're going to continue sandbagging this fetch land because we can't use it with Ashiok on the field anyway. Probably would be correct to sandbag it regardless of that due to all of our usual incentives See what has been exiled by Ashiok. Not that many threats, which is good, and hey, I was just about to say how good Tireless Tracker would be. And here we have it. Of course, the Ashiok is making it a lot less good right now, but it's still a welcome sight. Okay, the Ashiok mill, I mean, the game's going slowly enough that if they have more copies of Ashiok, who knows? Who knows whether the mill win condition is real, right? But they play out the Blast Zone. They did play an island last turn. Okay. So the big question is, are we priced into attacking Ashiok? Let's just see what we draw. We're probably not. We're probably just going to try to end the game. This is, obviously, if you couldn't tell, my first time playing against a deck anything like this, and it's not a very intuitive deck to play against. Like, I don't know that I've done anything incorrect, but it seems... Yeah, I'm a little bit unsure about a lot of things, just in terms of evaluating the broad texture of the game more than any specific decision. Alright, Abrupt Decay. Well, you know, maybe we do have to attack Ashiok here just to unlock our fetch and get another clue. I can buy that. It's a pretty annoying thing to have to do, though, right? Okay, so if we play the Bob, it's just going to die to the Blast Zone. And honestly, that might... Like, there is an argument for just playing it out and seeing if they will use the Blast Zone on it, because maybe Tireless Tracker is just the key to this game. So yeah, I'm going to do that. It's bad if they find another removal spell, maybe, because then that lets them take care of both things in a kind of a hyper-efficient way, but... Yep. Yeah, they go straight to 3, so sure. I think that's expected, and glad I played the Bob. Oh, they lose their own border post to that. Yeah, that's a little rough. Maybe that's why they've been, I believe, sandbagging the other one. They got another Narset. Sure. Good old Bob. Not exactly affected by Narset. Thoughtseize is the clear lead here. Lets us know exactly what we're going to do. Days Undoing. Well, that's the take. You can have that border post you've been hanging on to. And we are simply decaying your Narset. And playing out a second Bob. Alright. Again, who knows what they could have, but our position seems pretty good to me. Yeah, as always, my friends, you know, if there are gaps in my knowledge that need filling, I'd love to hear what you've got to say. Wow, we're drawing all the discard, huh? Vendilion Click. Okay. So we are going to Fatal Push this. So let's crack a clue in response to the trigger, and then we'll push in response to the trigger, and we should have... Yeah. I mean, they're probably just going to leave us with both of these discard spells. So we might as well take that border post out of their hand. I don't see any real reason not to. And similarly, there's no real reason not to play at least one of these Blooming Marshes, because they already know about them, and because they're ETB tapped lands and all that good stuff. We'll sandbag another one for probably the duration of the game. Dark Confidant, doing the stuff, doing the things. Bob is such a key to these unusual matches, especially when, they're not aggressively pressuring your life total. Just absolutely unbelievable. I don't know that we Thoughtseize here. I think we just attack. Especially now that we have Fatal Push. If they have like a flash blocker, even if we need a Revolt for it, we can manage that because they have a Field of Ruin target over there. We'll pass. Save our Thoughtseize for next turn, I guess. Seems to me like any permanent they have, they're pretty much priced into playing. Anything they're not priced into playing, they can either flash in or cast at instant speed in response to Thoughtseize, or it doesn't matter. That said, now that they've got 2 cards in hand, I'm probably leading on my Thoughtseize. We'll see what we draw, of course, but we're flooding really badly, considering our... Wow, yeah. Alright. We still might just have it here, but the flood is pretty real. Engulf the shore. Ooh, okay. That's a spicy one. And another Day's Undoing, sure. So, just redeploying our Confidants and getting a manland down for good measure. Cool. Lore Broker. That blocks, but it's dead to our push, so good game. Yeah. Still don't know exactly what the deck's up to. Like I said, it looks like some kind of a combo deck. Okay, well, we're playing it out, sure. We're not going to die to the Confidant triggers. Not this time. Although, yeah, kind of came close, but... Let's let the Quagmire join in on the fun, shall we? Alright, cool. So, yeah, again, what exactly that deck is up to looks pretty similar to the quick Google search yielded. So, I will of course have to investigate that further. I can't speak to the strength of the draw that they had there. Seemed like some good interaction they had in game 1. I mean, they kept functional 7s both games. Didn't obviously combo off, but it seems like our deck lines up quite well against what they're up to. They deploy a lot of permanents that we have answers to, whether it's creatures or, of course, Hand Disruption is lining up well against what they're up to as well, as far as I can tell. But, we've got the kill spells for the creatures, we've got the pulses and trophies, and even Abrupt Decay seems to hit most of their high-value permanents. So, I don't know. Seems like a fine matchup to me, because I just kind of muddled my way through it, but in any case, that was round 1. Let's go on to round 2, and we're here on the draw with a hand that is a keep, but it's a little clunky, but if we... I think it is a keep for sure. We hit that third land. We should be slow but strong. Opponent's going all the way down to 5. Gemstone Mine. Okay, okay. Well, Dark Confidant. Another 2-drop. Might be our play, though. See what the opponent does here. Gemstone Mine, of course, goes in a few decks, and most of them are ones that I would not be entirely surprised to see mulling this low. But Bloodstained Mire, okay. Stomping Ground. Is this a cathartic reunion? It sure is, and it's a good one, discarding Life from the Loam and Stinkweed Imp. Yikes. Alright, well. The opponent might still really get us here on the play, despite the low mull, and despite us having a turn 2 Skoos. It really might not be enough. They got the Narcomoeba. No prized amalgams to be seen, thankfully. So next turn, the opponent gets to Dredge again with Life from the Loam. I mean, I still think we play Skoos. And I guess Marsh Flats is a fine draw, kind of, because it lets us get another green source, but you know, we do have Kalidas. It is possible that despite that really good hit off of Cathartic Reunion, or I should say really good cards to pitch to Cathartic Reunion, it is possible that we can stabilize long enough to get there. So they've got Life from the Loam and Stinkweed Imp in hand. They have 2 Life from the Loams, maybe. So the guests will, of course, all come back, but, you know, if we curve out, we've got Tarmogoyf to throw up the big body to block, and then maybe Kalidas into removal. We'll see. We'll see. We're curving out. Okay, so the question is, yeah, I think we have to play Tarmogoyf simply because there is nothing in the graveyard that grows the Skoos. If there is even one creature in either yard to eat, there might be an argument for just leaning on the 3/3 here. But I think we've got to play the Goyf, and therefore we probably just eat the Life from the Loam, let them have the Faithless Looting, which at this stage could be kind of bad as well, but I believe that's where we are in the matchup. Games against Dredge are often very tense. Yeah, I'll attack here. There's no way I'm blocking with the use. And we do have to win the game sometime, right? We can't just stall eternally and die to Creeping Chills, so let's get in. Let's get the clock started. Yeah, I mean, turn 2 Skoos, turn 4 Kalidas against a Mulda 5. Turn 3 Tarmogoyf and Skoos activation. It's a really good curve out on our end. Again, on the draw game 1, it still might not be enough, but... And it is also possible we won't have the luxury for turn 4 Kalidas, but... Of course, we'll have to see what they, what finds its way to the graveyard. They pick Chill, Narcomoeba. They're just sending it all in, huh? They're just racing. Okay. Take the block. Get the Bloodghast back while we're all tapped out. It's all making sense. Do we have the luxury to play Kalitas? Our alternative is basically like Abrupt Decay, something, eat 2 somethings, but they don't have any good targets in the graveyard to eat really anyway. So I think we just have to play Kalitas here. This is one major reason he's in the deck, right? Especially the main deck. And I'm going to leave both big blockers back just because if we untap, we basically can't lose as far as I can tell. Or as far as I would reasonably expect. Perhaps that's a better way to put it. There is the concern for, stuff like Conflagrate. Dredge has a lot of tools, but the hard-cast Stinkweed Imp. Okay. And the ship attack with Narcomoeba. You got it. Well, thankfully we have removal in hand. Okay, Verdant Catacombs is a decent draw, potentially. Let's Decay the Imp. Alright, so now we could just simply play the Liliana and Edict and then get in with all of our heavy hitters. Alright, the opponent just scoops. I was just trying to see what the best possible line there is. Obviously I'm thinking Liliana Edict is live here. Scavenging Ooze activation is live, playing Hissing Quagmire, or we could play Verdant Catacombs. Apparently doesn't matter, the opponent just scoops. And realistically, game 1, there's no way we're losing from that situation, but, excuse me. Having come that far, I wasn't about to just throw that away, right? On a cavalier line, right when we had secured the game, so, yeah, feels great to win that game 1. Now, like I said, we did have a really nice progression, no question about it, but the opponent on the play with Cathartic Reunion game 1 is not a scenario that we usually come out ahead on, even when they mull to 5. So, seems fine to me. Now, it's been a while since I've played Dredge on this channel. Let's see what is in our deck. We've got the new tech of Ashiok. That's exciting. We've got, of course, all of the old tech of Cage, Spellbomb, Surgical, lots of really good stuff to do. I think Collective Brutality is good enough here. Even though it's too slow to hit their Dredge enablers on the draw, it still hits their sideboard cards. It still hits a slower Dredge enabler, or if they have multiples in hand, and it's just generally a fine enough card. We could also consider just like Damnations and Pulses, right? But the worst card for sure is Liliana of the Veil. The best 7 for sure are those there. And then there's kind of a couple different ways to approach the matchup. I think Abrupt Decay is pretty bad. Assassin's Trophy might look worse than Decay, but it actually isn't, arguably not, just because it can hit lands. I don't know. I don't know how realistic of a win condition that is, but it's worth mentioning here, for sure. So, I think I like just kind of trimming on some slower threats here. I'll play my Damnation, but not a Pulse. I think I've done that before and been pretty satisfied with it, and I'll just shave a trophy. In the past, I've cut all 3 trophies, but, you know, we're going to give this configuration a shot. Looks fine to me. As I've said before, the decisions along the margins in a matchup like this, don't get too hung up on them. Like, remember to focus on the big important decisions as far as sideboard tech goes. Opponent's taking a Maul. This hand's extremely... I think we have to Maul too. Like, the Thoughtseize into Goyf is actually really good against Dredge. Like, better than most people think, but... think we've got them all to a piece of Grave Hate, and there we go, we've got one. So, sure. We've still got turn 1 Inquisition if that's what we want to do. We're keeping. Opponent's going down nice and low for us. That's a good sign. That's a really good sign. And I think we're keeping any land on top, even though that is among the worst. Among the worst ones we could see, right? But... Alright, so, you know when the opponent goes this low, I'm not even sure whether it's correct to cast Discard, and you know, I honestly don't think it is. I don't think it is. And for that reason, I'm wondering if it's correct to cast Nihil Spellbomb. Because they could... I think I'm just going to go Treetop Village and pass. If I had a second form of Grave Hate, I would just slam the Spellbomb, right? But here I think I want to just make sure I'm getting my use out of it without it just dying to a Nature's Claim or an Assassin's Trophy or something like that. Alright. Okay, Blooming Marsh is a fine draw. And now it's a lot safer to... I mean, it's still not really that safe, I guess, to play Inquisition. Like, next turn is the safest time to play Inquisition, right? A crazy part of me wants to just play Dark Confidant here, but I know I shouldn't. This is just why Surgical is nice, because you can just, you know, make your plays while still having it held up. And not vulnerable to their reactive cards, but... You know what? I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it. I don't think they have much of anything here. So I'm going to take the highest upside line of Dark Confidant. Okay, the opponent just scoops. Good enough for me. Yeah, they clearly didn't have anything if they just scoop without seeing anything else from us. So it felt a little sketchy, but based on all the evidence we had access to, it was pretty safe to play Dark Confidant there. Now, don't get me wrong. Especially once we hit turn 2, it was pretty safe to play Nihil Spellbomb as well, because worst case scenario, they have the answer for it, we get to 2-for-1 them. That said, that's not as good as it sounds, right? Because we still had some discard spells that we're not sure whether or not it's safe to cast. We had no other Grave Hate in hand. So as unorthodox as it perhaps looked, I actually kind of like what we did there, just playing the Treetop, playing the Dark Confidant. Of course, we had the luxury to do so, because the opponent took a heavy mulligan, didn't really come up with anything on their 4-land keep or whatever, 4-card keep or whatever it was, so certainly not something you'll be doing every day, but hey, we beat Dredge 2-0. Both games were on the draw. Now, the mulligans helped out a lot, don't get me wrong, but we'll still take it, right? So, hey, pretty sweet start to the league. Alright, opponents on the play. Our hand is once more in that kind of slow but strong category. This is a certain keep, in my view. Opponents are riding that mall train today. We like to see that. We really do, you know? Nothing against our opponents, but we just prey upon decks when they mulligan. Our discard becomes that much more crippling. Not that we have it yet, but... Okay, Bloodstained Mire, pass. I mean... I think that it's likely enough that they play a 2-drop next turn that I'm supposed to play the Marsh there, but... Might not matter, or indeed we could get punished for it if we have to shock in the tomb and if that becomes relevant. But I think on average we get more mileage out of holding up our Fatal Push this turn. And the opponent is fetching, so looks like they've got some kind of a play to make. It's Dredge again. You got it. Well, prized Amalgam Bloodghast. They've got no Dredgers, and we once more have a Scooz, so... Excuse me. They're going to get some creatures back, but... Hopefully they don't have any more... They don't have a second Cathartic Reunion in hand, and hopefully that's kind of where things start to stall out for them. Then our removal can help get us back in control with our Scooz taking over the game. We'll have to see. Looks like it might be another Cathartic Reunion, though. That would be a bit rough. And it is, you know, still no Dredge effects, but they've got double Bloodghast, double Amalgam. And I was going to say, it's not possible that they don't have a land, right? So, unfortunate for us, they do. Seeing that many cards will tend to make you hit your land drops, of course, and so now they've got a bigger board than we were exposed to last round, but and we have no Tarmogoyf, admittedly. Oh, they've got Shriekhorn too, so some pretty good stuff going on over there. We draw an Inquisition way too late. Alright, so all we're doing here is playing this Marsh Flats and saying go. We'll have Fatal Push for an Amalgam. We'll have a couple Ooze activations, and we will see whether that allows us to maintain a place in this game. I don't know. No end step or upkeep Shriekhorn is strange to me. Definitely confess to being a little bit bemused by that. So we push an Amalgam. We eat said Amalgam, and then we'll block a Bloodghast and eat that if possible. The fetch land they played, of course, makes that a lot more awkward, but we'll see if the opponent has anything they need to use it for in the second main phase. Excuse me. I'm a bit stuffed up today. I hope that's not too hope that's not too unpleasant to listen to. Alright, so they've got a nice turn here. They mill over a Dredge card, they play a Stinkweed Imp, and they keep their fetch land uncracked. So I suppose we just eat the Life from the Loam here, because we're going to want to do that regardless. If they want to fetch now, it's their clean window to get the Bloodghast back, and sure, that's what they're doing. So, this could actually be fine for us. Kind of need to draw something to help us take advantage of that this turn, but now they're kind of shields down, right, as far as competing over the Skoo stuff goes. Alright, Tarmogoyf. So, couple options here. Number one is Inquisition, which is a lot better now that we have Skoos on the field. Number two is just playing Goyf and holding up Skoos. I think we're supposed to play the Goyf. And if they don't manage to get anything too crazy going this turn, we get to untap, you know, we might be in with a shout. Land drops are good from here on out for us because it allows us to play some of our Planeswalkers and start converting those into basically, hardcast Creeping Chill, sure. Into kill spells that the Skoos can clean up after. Alright, so we're walling off their attacks. They didn't even chip in with the Imp, which might be a mistake, or maybe they're playing really conservatively. I guess we're going to eat lands in case of a future Life from the Loam. Don't know if it's better to eat Gemstone Mine or the fetch lands. Probably Gemstone Mine, just because it's... Oh, we're max punished. They flip a Creeping Chill off of Shriekhorn. Yeah, I mean, sure. I still think we're kind of supposed to do that, but max punished, for sure. Maybe it's incorrect. Alright, so we have to eat the Stinkweed Imp. No doubt about that. Therefore, we can't really do anything else this turn anyway, so I guess we Inquisition. Now's as good a window as any. Narcomoeba. Fine, another Creeping Chill in hand. Man, that card is a pain. Such a pain. And we've just got to pass here. Once again, they're being really conservative with the Shriekhorn, and maybe that's just correct. Maybe they're just kind of waiting for their window for it like they did last turn, and that worked out really well for them, hitting that chill, so... Okay, here comes the other hardcast Creeping Chill, I have to assume. Yep. So, if we're going to eat the Narcomoeba, I guess we do it now so we don't die with our own Skoos trigger on the stack if they flip yet another one off of Shriekhorn, and I guess that's the play. Then again, this lets them still have their main phase. Whatever, I think I still do it here. I think we're so gated by mana that we kind of have to give them these little windows here. Hopefully we don't get too punished for it. Narcomoeba. Yep. I mean, it's another thing that does punish us for going shields down. It's a less dramatic way than the Creeping Chill did, but... Their last... Man, okay, some pretty good draws from the opponent, we've got to say. And we have a Field of Ruin, huh? Alright, well, I guess Liliana, the Last Hope, is probably our play here. Kill a flyer. And we'll pass. We are definitely on the ropes, but if the opponent just kind of bricks for this upcoming turn, we've got a lot of ways to really take over this game. Still might be soft to a card like Conflagrate or something, but Narcomoeba, yeah. That'll draw out my Scoo's activation. You know, again, if we get to untap here, we've got both Lilianas, and they finally whiff on a Shriekhorn activation, so that's nice. Yeah, and the Lilianas could really wreak some havoc here. Okay, the opponent is only chipping in with a Stinkweed Imp. Attacking us, just going for the race. Another Shriekhorn? These are so good in this window. They're so good in this window, it's unbelievable. I still think we have to go Shields Down against it. We just have to use our mana, every piece of our mana every turn if it's making Scoos better, so let's do it. Okay, they didn't go for a Shriekhorn activation, interesting. Not mad about it. So, play our land, take up, kill a Bloodghast. Play a Liliana, Edict the opponent. I guess they're going to sack their other Bloodghast here. They are, yes. So, what do we do? Like, we are max punished for not activating now if they top deck a fetch land. But if they top deck anything else besides a fetch land, we're safe to leave them in the yard. And with two Shriekhorns about to be activated, one twice if they want, I think we're supposed to just say go here. Now, what about attacking? I guess, again, the Bloodghasts are what punish us for attacking, so why don't we just play super conservative here and stay back? It's possible that, yeah, it's possible that we should be swinging with a 7/7 here, but again, the prospect of Bloodghast is a frightening one, so they brick on the first Shriekhorn, which is nice. Okay, are they going to aggressively Shriekhorn on the upkeep? Now I expect them to. They do. Narcomoeba. And Life from the Loam. I'll eat the Narcomoeba. They're going to respond with another Shriekhorn activation. Okay. So they've got 2 Life from the Loams in there. We're eating the Narcomoeba. And they can't get the Amalgam back this turn. Oof. What do we do? This is a tough spot. Because if we just eat the Life from the Loams now, they're just going to natural draw and they can get their Bloodghasts back and then get the Amalgam back if they draw a land. That's a pretty big if, though. I think I'm just going to eat the Dredge cards. I mean, that's what the deck does. Let's eat the Dredge cards, and let's hope they don't top deck a land. Now, even if they do, it's not the end of the world, right? I mean, maybe it still kind of is, but at least we have a really efficient way to kill those things with Lily the Last Hope. Alright, so the opponent takes their natural draw. They hit Faithless Looting. Holy moly, that's so bad. That's potentially so bad anyway. We'll see what happens off of it, but it is possible that they kind of get to do a whole lot more than we bargained for here. That's a scary top deck. Not guaranteed to be perfect or anything. Well, they concede. Okay. No flashback? Alright, fair enough. Maybe I overestimated the likelihood that'd be good. I don't know. That was a that was a bit of an intense game. And maybe I'm just wrong about that. Regardless, we got there again. And I think I'm going to side the exact same way. So we want all of our graveyard effects, plus a Collective Brutality, plus a Damnation, not quite dipping into the third pulse, or the second pulse, rather. Our Lilianas of the Veil come out, as do just kind of a smattering of other things like this. Yeah, I like it. Okay, I mean, doing well, holding our own against Dredge. It is like I said, an intense matchup, no question about that. Each decision feels very impactful. Opponent's keeping 7. We cannot. We certainly cannot. Oh boy. Yeah, this doesn't beat any kind of a Dredge 7. Go to 5. Hey, this could do it. We'll keep. We'll put a land right on top. Alright. This is a really powerful 5. On the draw against a 7 from Dredge. It may not be enough, but I'm at least happy that I mulliganed aggressively. I think it was correct. Now, the opponent goes Copperline Gorge Pass. So that means they almost certainly have to have Cathartic Reunion. And if I play the Grafdigger's Cage, I mean, it's going to make the Cathartic Reunion worse, right? But I think we're still supposed to simply Inquisition here. If they had gone turn 1 Faithless Looting, we'd probably just have to jam the cage and hope. But I think Inquisition here is correct. Now, if they have double Cathartic Reunion, we are in some hot water. But that's kind of a nut draw against us. Wouldn't you know it? Double Cathartic Reunion. But hey, no second land. So, do we take Lightning Axe? No, I don't think we do. I still think we take Cathartic Reunion. They really need that second land before they start trying to dredge. And Lightning Axe needs a target anyway. Alright, no second land, opponent. Okay. So, once again, I feel pretty free to cast my discard this turn rather than play out my my hate pieces. Yeah, let's go Forest. We don't have double black. I think that's okay. I don't think we want to fetch and shock twice. Okay, they found another Lightning Axe. You got it. So we're not really able to play our Skoos anytime necessarily soon. But hopefully we find something Well, there's another Skoos. Yeah, we've got to get the cage down. This means at least if we do eventually have to just jam the Skoos and do Lightning Axe, we have shut off their graveyard with the cage. Alright, drawing Swamp. I think we're just playing draw go here for a while. Trophying the land is a consideration because it thins out their deck of lands, but with Cage and Skoos around, using removal feels a little loose. Okay, Shriekhorn, sure. I mean, trophying that gives them a second land. But maybe that doesn't matter too much anymore. I'm gonna hit it with the trophy. Ooh, should not have main phased this. I didn't realize we were still in the main phase. Really should have. Oh, they mill me. Dark Confidant Kalitas. Okay. Fair. That was an error to main phase it. I thought we were on the unstep, but we were not. So, I mean, we've got to play our stuff sooner or later. I think playing a Skoos is pretty free here because we get to eat whatever they pitch with the Lightning Axe. Don't get me wrong, it's not good, but this kind of lets us do things a little bit on our own terms, rather than just waiting for them to top deck a Nature's Claim, then just go off. They pitch an Narcomoeba. Well, we'll eat it. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, what'd the opponent get for their draw step here? Another Cathartic Reunion. Yeah, that's pretty tough to beat. That's definitely their best draw, as far as I can tell. It just kind of lets them see more cards and fill up their graveyard, and of course, once they find an answer to Cage, we are in trouble. Tarmogoyf's a pretty good draw. Just because it survives Lightning Axe, I mean, you know, if they... Yeah, let's play the Goyf. We're just going to go on the Goyf plan and force them to have an answer to the Cage, force them to find one. Well, we've had a parade of threats, including the Confidant and the Kalitas that they milled. Don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Like, more discard, ironically, enough would have been just pretty interesting there in some of these early turns, but the discard we did see was pretty nice as well. Yeah, they're just seeing as many cards as they can, looking for what I assume is a claim, but they did tap their green land. Don't know if that was correct. Maybe they just have another land in hand and it doesn't matter. I don't know. But they've got a nice full yard. They got Conflagrate in there as well. They pitched a Chill. And they've got a claim. Yep. Well, this was our fear. And now they get to pass with Lightning Axe held up. We did not have a mana-efficient turn. And we draw Tireless Tracker. So... there's really nothing fantastic to do here. We play a Skoos. They've still got Lightning Axe and Stinkweed Imp in hand, so it's It's not like we can stop them from dredging next turn, no matter what we do, and then there's the Conflagrate to worry about. So I suppose we're just going to play Tireless Tracker this turn and see if they feel like Lightning Axing the Tracker maybe gives us a window to actually stick a Skoos. If not, we're just kind of trying to race. Again, with the parade of threats, like, we're seeing nothing but bodies here. Yeah, looks like they will go for the Lightning Axe. Golgari Thug is the pitch. Okay. They immediately hit double Creeping Chill off of the first Dredge. So, yeah, I mean, they put another Imp in the yard too. Okay. Seems like we are just pretty dead here unless we top deck maybe Nile Spellbomb. A third Creeping Chill. Yep. And of course the land to make it all happen. Fatal Push is most certainly not a Nile Spellbomb. However, we are, I guess, free enough to play Skoos. I guess we play Skoos, eat the Conflagrate. Try to untap. And live. One more time. I should not have dismissed that Stinkweed Imp. They do have one in hand because they bought one back, even though they pitched one, they milled one, I believe. Alright, so this one was a bit of a brick, this Dredge, so that's something. Still got plenty of gas in hand, I'm sure. Life from the Loam, you got it. Sending them all in, huh? Well, I don't think we can throw the Skoos away quite yet, so makes sense. Okay, opponent's tapping 2 red. Conflagrate for 5. Yep, well, you know, we just, I don't think we're beating this no matter what we did. But that's pretty much as bad as it could get. We draw land. Alright, good game. You know, mull to 5 on the draw against 7, we put up a decent fight. Just gonna run it back. I don't believe we want any changes here. Certainly have a decent degree of confidence in these post-side games against Dredge with our configuration, especially now that we'll be on the play. And especially now that London Mulligan is no longer active, I think that was certainly a boon to Dredge. You see how the one-landers can go awry for them now. Granted, they had enough interaction with those lightning axes that we were not able to punish it. And, of course, we ended up giving them the land anyway, but... Pardon me, guys. Don't know what is it. Seasonal allergies? Maybe a little cold? Never like to see that. Never like to see the stuffy sinuses, right? But, well, we have an unplayable hand. Sad but true. I think this would be fine if we had a black land, but got 'em all. This one's awful. Tarmogoyf into Damnation, which just does nothing else. Opponent keeping 7 as well. Okay, go to 5. It's a Nile Spellbound Skoo's hand. We'll keep it. And a Surgical hand. Alright, we've got some good 5s. We've got some good 5s. And I think with our particular setup here, we've got no choice but to play our stuff out. It's not like we have discard like we did in the previous round to potentially clear the way and incentivize us to slow roll our pieces that interact with the graveyard any, right? Like, we just drop our stuff down. We've got Surgical as backup. That's the good thing. That's the good news. Immediate Claim. Would we rather take the land out of their yard or gain 4 life? Let's just gain 4 life. Whatever. Pretty rough. Again, I see no alternative pathway in this matchup, given our mulligan, given the contents that remain in our hand, besides playing out Skoos. If they've got Lightning Axe, we're probably just dead. If not, we might have a game. Cathartic Reunion with 2 Dredge effects. Man, that's pretty rough, but I guess we're just going to extract all the imps. It's not ideal, but maybe their first Dredge whiffs, and then we can kind of take it from there. You know, we've got 3 hate pieces on them all to 5. Opponent immediately says mull to 5 and 3 hate pieces. Man, you shouldn't be complaining that we mulled to 5. That's really good for you. Our deck does not do well with heavy mulls. You should be happy that you're Dredge and you kept 7 both post-side games. That's what's really tough to beat. And you've got all the sideboard cards too. Ancient Grudge, Nature's Claim in the hand. Well, that's a beatable hand. They, of course, are going to get a Dredge here, but let's take a look at their library. Anything else we need to know about? 2 total copies of Conflagrate, 3 total copies of Lightning Axe, 4 total copies of Nature's Claim, only 1 Shriek Horn, interesting. Alright, and those claims and grudges are pretty dead now. Okay, they get a Conflagrate and a Prized Amalgam in the bin, but we can eat both of those. And Verdant Catacombs is a fine draw. I think at this point we are fetching and shocking. Actually, probably didn't need to do this main phase, but whatever. We already fetched, so the point is we do kind of need double black, I think. Alright, can this Valiant Scavenging Ooze just win us the game? Can the Skoos do it? It remains to be seen, to say the least, right? It's still a tall order, but we're going to give it the old college try, and we will eat the lands on the end step. Dark Confidant, okay. It's really not a bad draw, to be honest. Any creature here, I'm pretty much saying sign me up, especially if it lets us hold up a Skoos activation. Alright, it's a 2-turn clock we've got them on. They're going to hardcast some stuff, maybe? Blast Zone? What? I didn't look closely at their lands. Oh my god. Every degenerate deck in the format is playing Blast Zone now. Okay, they put 0 counters on Blast Zone. I think that was a misclick. And I'm very grateful for that, because it might make the difference between winning and losing. Wow. I don't know. They've got the mono floating. Yeah, it just looks like a misclick. We'll happily take advantage. We'll keep eating the lands, I suppose. Alright, Dark Confidant, what's it gonna be? 2 lands. Well, we don't really need these anymore. We need more action, but the onus is on the opponent to find something to do here. Blast Zone could wipe our board if they had tapped correctly. We play the Blooming Marsh there because, of course, it ETB's tapped. Oh my god, we got there. Alright, well, you know, again, the opponent complained about our mull to 5 and 3 hate pieces, but we've got such a high density of hate pieces, and so many of them are already in our main deck, you know. It was pretty unlucky to mull to 5 twice in search of a feasible hand against Dredge, and that's what happened to us, and we got there. Now, I would say that the opponent overboarded for sure. You know, 4 Nature's Claims and Ancient Grudge. You know, maybe they're expecting Leyline of the Void or something with all those claims, but and, you know, they did see... I can't remember. The matches are running together. I think they did see Grafdigger's Cage, so maybe they're expecting multiple copies of that. But, you know, that's the trap of overboarding with your linear deck. You end up with a handful of answer cards, and maybe the first one is good. And then from there, your deck is just not really going off. We got a little bit of disruption with the Ooze, and the 3-3 and the 2-1 beats did the rest. Now, granted, we needed the fortune of the misclick on the Blast Zone, but hey, we'll take it. We will take it for sure. 3-0, my friends, so what a start to this competitive league. You don't see me on the trophy board, and it's unfortunate, because I think, I've only glanced at them, but I think for the past 3 5-0 compilation lists, there have been no Rock players, so if I had had more time to play and managed to get a 5-0, I would have definitely got published, because there's no one else to be published in my place. So sadly that hasn't happened, but the good news is that I have not had a negative league this month yet, and the trend continues here. We are 18-7 before today in competitive leagues, and I played a friendly league for fun and went 3-2 there as well, so it's been all positive, cashing every league, and that's a really good place to be. But let's take the step up, let's close it out, let's get the 5-0. That would be nice. That would be really nice. Excuse me, stepping away for just a moment. I've returned and we're still tracking down an opponent. Okay, interesting. This is where we begin to feel that the matchmaker is conspiring against us. So let's hope that's not the case. Yeah, hadn't seen Dredge in a while. Now we see it 2 matches back to back. And the funny thing is, guys, we still haven't played our Ashiok. We've almost not even seen our Ashiok. I believe there has been one game in one match in one of the leagues I've done this month where we've seen an Ashiok. I believe it was against Is It Phoenix, and we had the option to cast Ashiok and exile their yard, and it would have been a good play. But we also had the option, because we drew a Scavenging Ooze, to play a Scooze and make it a 4-4, and that was better. So Ashiok and Liliana's Triumph being quite camera shy. I'm just trying to test them before Modern Horizons comes in and shakes up the format, but so far, very camera shy. Very camera shy. And we finally got our match, and we're on the play. Sweet. Alright, we've taken a lot of mulligans today. This hand's pretty poor, but I'm going to keep it. You know, turn 2 Bob on the play goes a long way to making up for an action light hand, hopefully. I always get paranoid about turn 1 Blood Moon in a situation like this. It's Swamp Ether Vial. Wow. I don't really know what Swamp Ether Vial is, but I bet Liliana the Veil's good against it. And I don't really know if I should be decaying the Vial. I don't believe I'm going to. Turn 2 Bob is just too appealing. But there is, of course, a consideration for that. You know, this could be like an Eldrazi Taxes deck that just happened to open on basic Swamp, which is not that common. Or it's just a Dark Confidant. Alright, well, we're going to Lily that Confidant away, I do believe. Yeah. I'm going to pass here. I like being able to both protect my Liliana and protect my Confidant from them vialing in some manner of 1-drop that can trade with it. Now, it's possible that was not a realistic concern, but again, I don't really know what I'm facing. I've never seen Dark Confidant in an Ether Vial deck before. And they've got another Vial. Most interesting. Some kind of a brew, one assumes. We flip Kalitas? Well, the flips are getting a little painful there, Bob. Let's tone it down, man. We'll pitch a fetch land here. Even though we've got Tracker, I think that's fine. Oh, Abzan? Abzan with Ether Vial. I'm lost. I admit to being lost. And I think it's going to be correct to hold up Abrupt Decay here and just be really patient again. With our scoos, with our plays. Sure. So that said, we are pretty free to attack with Bob this turn because we are gonna, I guess, decay a 2-drop if they flash it in. It's gonna be bad if it's a Thalia. But I guess I'd rather... Yeah, okay. Yep, we won't play around Thalia, we'll just play the scoos. Cool. Flicker Wisp. Alright. Targeting Liliana. Yeah, I mean, unless there's some kind of a combo here. Which there might be. Wasteland Strangler. Yep, there's the combo. So, sure, this is not good, but... yeah, we'll kill your Strangler. And they get their nice 2-for-1, but I think we're pretty ahead nevertheless. So, of course, there's no Liliana to return, so that's pretty nice for the opponent. So, we could just play Kalitas here. But I'm not really that keen on trading my scoos away. Even though we'd get value out of it, so I think I'm just going to go Tracker. Attack with the Skoos. Make 2 clues. It's a little bit too good to pass up in my view. It's also nice to get our fetching done before a possible Leonin Arbiter shows up. I'm just going to get my damage across here. I think that's correct, rather than holding up more activations or holding up clue or anything like that. Opponent's fetching, so maybe this is a push or a path. Or no, they're just... realize our turn is at an end. Alright. Okay, so opponent is, there's a redraw with Horizon Canopy. I was going to say they're just about at the mercy of their top deck. They did have 1 card left in hand. Tidehollow Sculler. Alright. There goes Kalidas. Is this another Strangler? Yikes. Man, that value is insane. That is rough. That is so rough. However, we do have, again... We are pretty far ahead still, but they're catching up well with those Stranglers, no doubt about that. So, Clue Crack here is pretty free, I suppose. We have Field of Ruin, huh? So I think I'm supposed to main phase my removal in this matchup for the most part. I guess that makes me want to play Field here, because I'm going to trophy away the Strangler, then attack. And I would, if I had 2 activations available to me, I would have eaten twice with the Ooze, because the life totals are becoming very relevant. But I think cracking Clue is better than activating with Ooze once. I also think it's correct in general to attack, because they have too many flicker effects for sitting back to be a reliable way to block the Tidehollow Sculler. And of course, Flicker Wisp is the more important clock anyway. So, Liliana the Last Hope is a potentially good draw. Liliana of the Veil is another potentially good draw. Sadly, we can't play both. And so I actually think Veil is better here in case they have another Flicker Wisp, basically. We don't want to get blown out by removal, or by Flicker effects, so I'm going to play Veil. And once again, we're just going to not mess around. We're going to do all this while it's getting us the most possible damage and life. Definitely playing out that marsh, and they're dumping in a creature on the end step. That's a little rough, but Selfless Spirit, okay. I was going to say, even their best... like clock there, which would be a Flicker Wisp or Restoration Angel, does not at least put lethal on board this turn, right? So, okay, opponent gets our Veil off the field. You got it. Pretty happy that's not coming at me. Field of Ruin. All right. So, Last Hope. And that's going to be game. Okay, good game. Yeah, those Wasteland Strangler combos with Flicker Wisp and with Tide Hollow Sculler are insane. And this just looks like Abzan Taxes. Like, no Eldrazi theme, just Abzan Taxes. So, let's keep that in mind as we sideboard. I do like EE. Hitting vials, hitting 2-drops, that's all still relevant. I always say that Fulminator is a potential role player in the Taxes matchups, but I generally don't end up bringing him in. The opponent was fetching, right? Still don't think we want Ashiok, but worth noting that they probably don't have the Leon and Arbiter package. We didn't see, and yeah, we saw Field of Ruin, not Ghost Quarter, so they imagine they definitely don't. So they're all about the value. Like, none of the stuff that's conditionally good, like Arbiter plus GQ, both of which are pretty underwhelming on their own, but can win the game together. There's not the clunky Eldrazi stuff that is really good if you have Eldrazi Temple, but messes up your mana base and can be underwhelming on curve. So I like the look of that deck the opponent has going. I think we want all this stuff. The one I'm not sure about is Collective Brutality, but it's just a kill spell. It's just a kill spell. We're gonna play it. The rest of the stuff is nailed on awesome. I like Liliana's Triumph for the same reason I liked the Liliana of the Veil play near the end of that game rather than the Last Hope. It's just nice to have an Edict effect when they have the potential to blow out your spot removal. You might not get the creature you want, but they don't go that wide, and you're definitely getting a creature. So, I like it. I guess we're going to cut one Veil even though she's good, just 4 is clunky. Probably cut a Bob on the draw, maybe some other threats. Probably cut a couple Thought Seizes, but keep the majority of our discard in. And maybe, just maybe, I'm going to cut a land here. I think cutting a land on the draw when I don't think they're on GQ is safe. I just don't know if it should be... It probably should be Blooming Marsh. They probably play Path. And then I could cut a Scooze or a Tracker or just another Confidant. Let's cut one Scooze. Again, the prospect of Paths, and it's a white deck in general, they might have Rest in Peace. Scooze is a tad clunky anyway, you know, they can flick it and reset it. I think 2 Scooze is perfect here. Alright. The Taxes matchups are pretty skill-intensive, pretty intense in general. Well, opponent will mull, thankfully, because we certainly have to mull this one as well. This is a fine 6. Another Inquisition. It's potentially fine, but I think we're pretty... Well, I mean, honestly, it's so good to see your Inquisitions early. And we have a Bob. I'm gonna be greedy. I'm gonna be greedy and put this on top. It's really not that greedy. Like, we're on the draw already, you know? I'll just get Swamp here. See what you're up to, opponent. Overgrown Tomb. So no Mana Tithe. That's good. Alright. No Ether Vial either, obviously. And maybe for all we know, it's out of the deck. Who knows? Very clunky hand on the opponent's side. We're probably just taking the Eternal Witness. Yep. Take the Ewit. We take the guaranteed 2-for-1. Oh boy, I didn't notice that was Celestia Sanctuary. They're playing the bounce lands. That's insane. Alright, so they're curving out. I did not even notice that. I just naturally assumed that was a Temple Garden. Deathmark is one of the best draws we could have that's not a third land. So what do we take here? Is it just... Like, Flicker Wisp is annoying because it's going to reset our stuff potentially, but I think we just take Knight of the Reliquary. We just take the most individually powerful card because they're playing things out one at a time. And Knight could also certainly get involved with some shenanigans down the road as well. Okay, no 3-drop on curve. Sure. That means we are immensely rewarded for them playing cautiously here because we have not hit our third land. Our greedy top of Inquisition has not paid off in that regard, but because the opponent didn't play a creature here, it might end up doing so. Might end up coming through for us. All right, come on, Bob, show us the good stuff. There's our third land. We're in business. We're rolling, so it's just a question of what removal spell we want to use here. Probably just Fatal Push. Okay, they're F6, so I'm just gonna main phase here. All right. Well, things are looking good for us. We've got a great hand. What a hand. And the opponent, I guess, is just waiting for the ability to do two things at once, it seems. I don't think we're playing around Settle the Wreckage here, so let's get in with both. It's really unfortunate that we drew 2 lands, but neither of them is untapped. So no Kalitas, but at least these utility lands we're seeing can help us close out the game if things go sideways. I was going to say, this is not a Collected Company deck. There's no way. Just got the sudden fear that it might have been, right? But it's not. All right, so if they go for a double spell turn, we've got Decay. Alright, so here comes the Flicker Wisp and Wasteland Strangler combination. I don't know that there's any way we can disrupt this. So we'll Decay the Strangler here. We're going to Deathmark the Flicker Wisp next turn. Maybe, or maybe we'll just play Kalitas if we don't hit an untapped land. Yep, I mean, that's a heck of a combo. It really is. Alright, we hit the untapped land, which is not really a very good draw, generally, but at least it lets us have a really nice turn here. And we have the mana sinks to make this fine. Alright, we'll take it. So the opponent's got that Strangler value showing up big, but otherwise their deck is struggling to compete with our card quality. They get to kill a token here if that's what they want to do, and indeed it is. Sure. Ooh, last card in hand is a land. Not good. Not good for our opponent. Alright, well, we draw Liliana. That's also pretty good. And you know, even that extra Blooming Marsh is not the worst, because now we can hit another land and fire up both manlands, but there's just no need. We're just so far ahead, it's unbelievable. So, yeah, I mean, I already said what needs to be said about this match. We had the card quality showing up big, we had the efficient sideboard removal showing up big, and indeed the main deck removal. And despite the opponent managing some really nice synergies with Wasteland Strangler plus Flicker Wisp or Tide Hollow Sculler, respectively, we just kinda got there on the back of cards like Kalidas, Liliana, both Lilianas really. Inquisition of Kozilek was really nice in this matchup. Of course, Fatal Push, Abrupt Decay. Even Scavenging Ooze Game 1 was pretty clutch. So, yeah, just card quality. Card quality, and they have that, that synergy that's so good it feels like you want to call it a combo between the aforementioned cards. But we just have the general deck synergy. We're just rewarded for playing the game against a deck like that by growing the Tarmogoyf, by growing the Skoos, and having mana sinks, and getting repeated value out of Planeswalkers, and so on and so forth. So, we're doing it, my friends. We got the 4-0 thus far, and we're playing for that 5-0. We're playing for that 5-0. Now, we've been here before. We've been here before, and we haven't gotten there, but there's no reason to lose faith yet. I'm very happy with this league, regardless of the outcome here in round 5. But let's get it. Let's get the 5-0, shall we? Let's just make it happen. Yeah, the deck feels well balanced right now. It feels really coherent. Feels really strong. We've taken our share of mulligans this league as well. We've had cohesive value progressions when we keep 7, where our card quality has shown through, and we've had the ability to kind of mulligan in the matchups where an aggressive mulligan is called for down to 5 and still take the game. So we're kind of seeing both sides of the deck here, and I'm very pleased with how things stand. Now, granted, there's a lot of really crazy stuff going around the format right now. I'm not going to name any of the names because I don't want to jinx us. I don't want to summon them to this match by naming them, but you all know who I'm talking about, right? And we've lost, I think, every die roll except one, so there's that. This hand's totally fine. I feel like I've said this a lot. This league, it is powerful but slow. This one in particular would be a lot better on the draw. There's a lot of Snow-Covered Forest Arbor Elf. So is this Panza? Is it a mono green ramp deck of some kind? I don't know, but in case there's a turn 2 Blood Moon, I've gotta run out this Marsh Flats. And to be fair, if there is, we might be okay because we'll be able to play Liliana. Utopia Sprawl, yes. It's green, so mono green, interesting. Devoted Druid, alright. I don't know if this is like the Druid combo and a ramp shell. I really don't know what to think. I don't know if I should be playing around Blood Moon either. I don't think I should be, because, right, they've showed me mono green stuff. Well, let's just not fetch. We'll just see what we draw. Alright, we draw Treetop Village. I think that settles it. We're gonna fetch and shock. We're gonna get a duel. And we do probably just have to kill that Devoted Druid. I'm just wondering if I should be escalating. I think I'm going to escalate and pitch a Bob. 2 Bobs on the draw, seeming very clunky, especially because we've got Liliana turn 3. Yeah. Let's do that. Kill your Druid, look at your hand, see exactly what you are up to. And it's a whiff. It's a major whiff. One of the most painful whiffs of all time. Because we also see that they just have so much redundancy in hand. It's unbelievable. But then again, they're not really doing necessarily all that much with it at the moment. Looks like just a ramp deck. I don't know what they're ramping to, but they're playing this much ramp. It's a little terrifying. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little terrifying. Yeah, you can forgive me for seeing Devoted Druid and assuming there is going to be a court or a company in hand, right? Like, I think that's totally reasonable. So they played 3 things out. They have Hierarch plus 1 unknown in hand. I think we're just playing our Bob. We can't protect our Liliana. She doesn't accomplish much as far as I can tell with either mode. So, sure. Dark Confidant. Alright, they're tapping for white. I don't know if that... Oh, they did put white... They put white on Utopia Sprawl. Well, I really don't know what this is. Karn the... Oh, it's a Karn... Of course it's a Karn deck. I was thinking of Tron specifically when I was talking about the decks that are really degenerate in Modern right now and must not be named, but you know what? This is one of them. Look, we're just locked out of casting spells. Just locked out of casting spells. So, do we even keep playing? That is unbelievable. Okay, here comes the chump block with Devoted Druid. So, that's a really nice synergy there. Can't cast anything, can't do anything. Mycosynth Lattice. So, for those who don't know, this makes all permanents are artifacts in addition to their other types, including everything in hand. Karn the Great Creator's passive ability. Activated abilities of artifacts your opponent's control can't be activated. So, no activated abilities are available to us, including that of our lands. And then it just gets to tick up and kill lands as well, which is totally fun, totally balanced. So I guess we're going to keep playing it out just to... Because we're playing for the 5-0, you know, we're going to make them do everything correctly. We're going to see more of their deck, hopefully. But... we are just dead here. Guess we're blocking with Bob, I don't know. We'll see what else the Karn is going to tutor for. And it's not even going to tutor, it's just going to Stone Rain us forever. Whatever, we're jumping. And we're conceding. Yep, there's just no need for them to show us any more information with this lock. With the Karn just able to tick up, so... Oh, I think I jinxed us anyway, guys. Even though I didn't say the name of the Great Creator out loud, I think I jinxed us. Sad times, but, you know, I guess that's what... I guess that's where Modern is as a format, right? So, unfortunately, Ashiok cannot shut down the Karn tutoring because it comes from exile. Now, against Tron, we still bring in Ashiok, because it shuts down Sylvan Scry, shuts down Expedition Map, but here they haven't shown us any of that stuff. They also haven't shown us any Fulminator Mage targets. I think it was just, they're just piling basic lands, piling Utopia Sprawls onto basic lands. So we're going to have to pivot to a different plan. I think Engineered Explosives is clearly pretty good here. Maelstrom Pulse, same. I guess we're just bringing in potentially anything that does anything, including Deathmark, Surgical Extraction. I'm sure they have other win conditions, especially post-side against us, besides the Karn lock, but let's do it anyway. Don't know about Brutality and Triumph, like, just don't know. What don't we like? Honestly, our whole deck is probably pretty fine. Maybe we just cut some of the clunky top-end stuff like Kalidas. If we're bringing in 5 cards, like, I think we need all of our hand disruption. I think we need all of our kill spells. So let's cut a Scooz. Even Last Hope is pretty fine, I guess. I mean, maybe Last Hope is actually not that great. Huh. Or maybe she's fine. So my fear is that, like, my thinking is that the repeated value of Last Hope... No, I think we want Last Hope because she's a win condition as well. She mows down the Monodork, she's a win condition. Might as well be on the play if we're going to play her at all. I just simply don't know what else to cut, so... Let's just cut clunky threats. We'll lose a tracker. Gotta lose one more card. I guess it will just be Collective Brutality. I guess it's just the worst kill spell. We don't have reason to believe that it's going to be any better at discarding than it was last game. I think this looks like a good setup against a totally unknown deck. We're seeing some spice today, guys. That is for sure. Alright. So... Let's try to take this deck down. Let's try to take this Karn mono green, whatever it is. We're going to take it down. On the play. Hand is great. We hit our third land. We are classically curving out in style with Thoughtseize into Tarmogoyf into Liliana. This is just what the doctor ordered. Opponent likes their 7 as well. So, Thoughtseize you, they've got 2 lands, they've got 2 Devoted Druids. They've got Karn, they've got Rex Sage, and they've got Skooz. Well, I think we're just going to take the Karn, really just hoping to naturally hit my... my third land on curve, and then we can edict whatever their turn 2 play is. And we have. So that unfortunately means no Tarmogoyf, but I think it's going to be correct. Anyway. Alright, they just hit another land, so what do we take? Probably Skooz. We don't care about their X-Sage. Yeah. Alright, Liliana time. Okay. We appear to be in pretty good shape. Another forest, another Devoted Druid, and a pass. You know, big part of me wants to just play take the Lily up, then play another Liliana and Edict. But I don't think that's correct. Don't think it's correct. Think we have to play a creature this turn. Like, we're obviously worried about Karn, but they could just have a 4th land for Karn anyway. In fact, they likely do. So we're just going to take up. So the question is, A, what to pitch, and B, what to play. Feels bad, but I believe I'm going to pitch Tireless Tracker here. And just play Tarmogoyf. Like, Dark Confidant's awesome, but we need to be able to attack the Karn down. Yeah. Alright. Opponent has their land, and opponent is tapping 5. Is this like a Thragtusk or something? It's the other reason... Oh, Primal Command. Wow. And shuffle their graveyard back into their library. How interesting. Okay. Shrinking the Goyf a bit, I suppose. Getting rid of our Liliana as well. So the backup Lily is the certain play here. It's really tempting to tick up, but we just have 2 great cards in hand, so I'm not going to. And if they had a better play than Primal Command, that's what they would have done last turn, right? Nice. I'm so happy to have drawn an untapped land, so we get to just dump out our hand here. Take up with the Lily. Get that last card out of their hand. It's another Primal Command. Alright, Tarmogoyf gets in. Our position is amazing. So the opponent got maybe just the scoop. Alright. Alright. We are one win away against a totally rogue deck from the 5-0, my friends. So let us revise our sideboarding plan, perhaps. But, you know, I don't think we need to. We didn't... I mean, Primal Command, I guess, makes Collective Brutality more appealing, but that's just a value card. It's not a card that, like, we have to answer or die. And I think keeping in discard, kill spells of all variants, Planeswalkers, I think all this is just better. Like, maybe you could argue that we shave a Liliana of the Veil on the draw. But what do we bring back? You know, we could bring back either of these cards. So we could bring back a Triumph, a Brutality. I do think I like cutting a Lily on the draw. I think that's fair. I think that's fine. Liliana's Triumph is pretty tempting just because I want as much as possible that kills creatures, but everything I've seen dies to Brutality. Because we're just stopping the ramp, keeping the board clear, all that stuff, right? But everything dies to Brutality, plus we do have the upside of being able to snipe a Primal Command, if that makes sense. So I can buy that. Let's go. Oh, I submitted 61. Did I do that? Or is the client just lagging? Nope, I submitted 61. Well, I'm bad. I don't know how that happened. Maybe I did it last game, too. What do we think about this hand? Does it do enough? It probably does not do enough. I really like both the spells we have, but I think Hissing Quagmire is not bad either at pressuring a Planeswalker. This is the most important decision. I mean, Decay's really good. I'm going to keep. Another Tarmogoyf. Well, can't really be mad about drawing action in general, but that's pretty poor action relative to what else we've got. Fatal Push. That is good action. So I am just simply going to decay here. Next turn we've got Push into Goyf. They've got the turn 3 Karn. Walking Ballista. Alright. Whew, I can handle that. I can handle that all day. So, I guess we're pushing the Ballista here. Rather than the Monodork. They show signs of having all the mana in the world and not necessarily the right payoffs that they need. So, yeah, we'll push Ballista. It's possible that I should have fetched to grow the Goyf by 1 more point, but I don't think anything specifically punishes us for not doing that this turn. Alright, this is very nerve-wracking, my friends. We've got no more disruption. And we haven't begun the clock yet. They've got all the mana. Might just be another primal command. Acidic Slime. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. 2/2 Death Touch. Dodges Fatal Push. Well, that is annoying. However, Fatal Push is an okay draw. Alright, so I guess we're just kind of trying to attack through their things. Okay, pushing here doesn't grow it, so fine. I am a little surprised that they let that attack through, but maybe they're trying to play defense for a potential Planeswalker. I don't know. It does make me think they don't have any way to really buy back threats, but who knows? Okay, Thoughtseize is a fine draw, a little bit awkward here because I would be happy to fire up Quagmire. So in other words, this would have been nice a turn or two ago, but I will certainly take it. I will certainly cast it. Vizier of Remedies. Wow. Okay, this does have the combo in it. So let's think carefully about what to do here. So all the modes of Primal Command. Gain 7 life, that's very annoying. Put target non-creature permanent on top of its library, that's still annoying. You can shuffle it away, and you can tutor. Well, the tutoring seems pretty bad. The question, here's what we have to ask ourselves. Do we think they have another win condition in the deck besides Walking Ballista, which we already took away? Like, do we just leave them with infinite mana and hope it doesn't matter? I think that might be the correct play. Like, they might not have... And they're going to cast the Primal Command next turn because we can't kill the Devoted Druid. Yeah, we're going to leave them with the infinite mana combo. They also actually don't have white mana. So, sure, we'll take Primal Command. And now they are priced into blocking. So the Goyf is still a really good clock here, and their top deck is Noble Hierarch, which is not a particularly good one, but it does get them white mana, in case that comes up. And they're getting aggressive with the Devoted Druid. We draw EE. I believe that to be better than attacking with Quagmire here. So that's what I'll do. And I am going to run out this land even though in a lot of circumstances it would be loose. We do have enough incentives to do so. Specifically thinking of Quagmire plus like top decking more action. Like a Tarmogoyf. Well, Tarmogoyf is good in an awkward sort of way, I guess, but we're just gonna force the chump block here, I think. Huh. Yeah, I think we do that. Oh, what did I do? Okay. Alright, so the Vizier is back to being dead in hand. The opponent's dead on board. And what are we about to see? Either a really nice top deck or the scoop. Well, I don't know how I got so far behind on the clock. My apologies to the opponent for slow play here. I guess it's the end of my league, and I probably have been taking a little bit too much time, and my 8 buttons not working to get through the turns quickly. Finale of Devastation is their top deck. What? Library and or graveyard for X equals 3. Alright. What is that going to be? Who knows? Something that they have to hopefully chump block with. Let's hope they don't play Tarmogoyf. Eternal Witness. Buying back a slime? Sure, I mean the value, but we might just top deck a kill spell? No, okay. That's still alright. Alright, so I really don't know what they could possibly have here. Obviously, Slime gets rid of the Hissing Quagmire, and they don't have anything else. So that's that, my friends. That is that. There's our 5-0. There's our league. That's what we all wanted to see. It's been a little while, right? It's been a little while since I got the 5-0. But again, the results have been spectacularly good. Specifically this month, they've been amazing. All 3-2s plus more 4-1s than 3-2s. Nothing lower. And now we got the 5-0 cherry on top. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I'm going to get even greedier and just say I really hope I get this published, because the last few 5-0s have gotten the snub. We've gotten the snub on the last few 5-0s. For those who have been with me for a while, the first time I ever did a live recorded competitive league on this channel, we 5-0'd. And I was doing it, that was back when I was doing 1 match per video. So it was this, like, it's like the old serials in Turn of the Century, like, magazines. You're just waiting for the next installment, right? So that was really intense, and we got published for that one. But since then, we've got snubbed on our 5-0s. Hopefully this is not the case here. Now, what did we face today, and how did our deck perform? Well, we faced a couple of... Our league was kind of bookended by a couple of brews, or new style decks. We had the mono-green Karn deck that we just took down, and then we had that blue and black Days Undoing Narset deck with the 2-drop looter that combos with Narset. And, in between we had the more established decks. We had a couple ones against Dredge, and we had Abzan Taxes. So, not exactly a spread of Tier 1 decks. Taxes is established, but kind of firmly Tier 2, although I do like the opponent's build. I think if I played Taxes, I would probably go for the more steady build like the opponent showed us, rather than the higher variant stuff with Arbiter and GQ or Eldrazi stuff. Just my taste, but... And then, of course, Dredge is Dredge. It's near the top of the meta, has been ever since Creeping Chill got printed. So that was our big scalp, was the back-to-backs on Dredge. But then, you've gotta beat what the big wide format of Modern throws at you. And I'm telling you, my friends, Golgari Midrange, BG the Rock, can do it. All these cards, so some of them have such utility and such advantage that you can leverage them in so many different situations. I won't say every situation, because yes, Bob is mostly just bad against Burn. Let's just be honest. Although I have won a game with a Bob on the field for many, many turns, but that's neither here nor there. But within reason, you can leverage most of this stuff against anything. You just have to, admittedly, have the right cards in the right order. You have to have variance with you to some degree, but we have the ability to rumble with the Tier 1 stuff and to take down the random new rogue decks, dare I say the jank decks, and everything in between. Pardon me. Well, my voice is starting to give out. Thank you for bearing with my my stuffiness and my coughs. I hope it wasn't too disturbing. And thank you, as always, my friends, for watching this content, for supporting it in any way you can, especially if you're on Patreon. Now, if you guys are enjoying this content, Patreon really is the best way to show your support. It helps me get the new cards right as they come out without taking money out of my family's budget, you know, being a responsible father and all that. My disposable income is pretty limited. You know, it's not a... I'm not considering this a job or anything, but it is nice to have a bit of a cushion and to justify being able to carve out the time to bring you this content. If Patreon is beyond your means, that is okay. I don't want to put anyone out. And remember, you can also support the channel by subscribing to the YouTube channel, by liking, by commenting, by sharing, you know, word of mouth, whatever you can do. I appreciate all of it. So thank you so much for watching, my friends. I look forward to hearing your feedback on this, and I look forward to hearing a little bit more about what anyone might know about the decks we faced, especially in Round 1 and Round 5. Those are both brand new to me, and we got there. So feel like we had some pretty decent draws here, pretty decent progressions. Can't complain, but we also earned the 5-0. So good games, well played to the opponent. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the comments section. Stay tuned to the channel for more gameplay to come. I'm going to do my rundown of Modern Horizons spoilers as they come out. It's going to be a great time. So thanks for sticking with me, and I will talk to you soon. I hope you have a great day.